Creatures of the night, it's your girl Tati. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite. I almost said New Japan G1 Climax. Almost. We still got a few more nights of that. But speaking of New Japan, we do have the door slightly open tonight. So let's talk about that. First, we actually start off with the face-to-face with MJF, our scumbag, our champion MJF, with our other champion, Hangman Adam Page. This went close to 15 minutes, but we got exactly what I thought we was going to get anyway. Like I said, the whole thing with Mark Briscoe being involved was just a little something to do for a week or two, because the real story is obviously going on between MJF and Hangman. So long story short, Hangman calls MJF a coward for not wanting to put his contract and just wanting to have a one-on-one match with him. Honestly, I don't see how that's a coward. He wants to kind of earn his way to getting a match with Hangman instead of just cashing in, because I think he thinks that he can just go in the ring with Hangman and still win anyway, whatever situation was with that. But MJF accidentally, by accident, I'm sure it was an accident, ends up saying that he is cashing in at Forbidden Door in a match one-on-one with Hangman for the AEW World title. Now, he seemed shocked when he said it, like this was an accident, like he was thinking it, but he said it out loud. And unfortunately, Tony Khan makes it official. Like, Tony, don't you realize that he made a mistake? He didn't mean to say it. He didn't mean to put the contract up at Forbidden Door. To be honest with you, I'm not happy with this, because they're literally doing the same thing with Athena with her contract at Forbidden Door as well. And honestly, I don't think it's going to work out for both of these contract holders. I think it's more likely to see with Athena winning the world title. But MJF, I just don't see that happening with Hangman losing the title so quickly. Now, after this, we have the Death Riders coming to the building, and we are in Cincinnati. So the homeboy, Jon Moxley, is coming in, and he looks dead into the camera, walks on into the camera, and says, "Darby Allin, you ain't getting shit from me." Well, translation basically saying, you ain't getting shit from me. So whatever you think it happened the other day with Willie Yuta and the little body bag, that's not getting anything with you and me. Now, he comes on in, have a match with the, oh, Lord have mercy, Kevin Knight. Good looking man, very good looking man, but we knew he was gonna get his ass whooped. Speedball comes out there as well. I guess he thinks that, you know, with Willie Yuta being a distraction out there, that he might as well come out there and make sure everybody's trying to play fair. This was a really great match, and kudos to Jon Moxley, who's just like, hey, y'all thought I was gonna go and be at home and vacation and all that shit. Nope. After even losing the title, which we don't want to think about Jon Moxley, he's still out here every week putting on really great matches and working with young talent too. So, you know, Speedball got his ass whooped last week, and obviously Kevin Knight got his ass whooped tonight in a really great matchup. Now, after the match though, Death Riders are putting their hands on Jet Speed, and it is what it is. Wrong place at the wrong time. It be like that sometimes. And here comes Darby Allin coming out with a skateboard in one hand and a body bag in another. And I was like, oh, what the hell? Now, Jon Moxley's ready, so he stands there, and Marina gets in front of Jon Moxley, and then out of the blue, Kevin Knight goes and attack fucking Jon Moxley. I'm like, well, what this got to do with y'all? Why don't y'all mind y'all business? This is about Death Riders and Darby. This has nothing to do with y'all. Long story short, somehow Jet Speed is distracting Jon Moxley and getting to the crowd. So Willie Yuta's in the ring by himself, and Marina somehow left. And Darby Allin heinously attacks Wheeler Yuta and puts him in a body bag. And he was going for a coffin drop onto Wheeler Yuta, who is in this body bag. Where was security? What are they getting paid for when they can't be around when we need them the most? But anyway, just when he was going to go for that coffin drop, then our boy Claudio Castagnoli has made his triumphant return. Well, honestly, I don't know what he's been at for like the past week, maybe 2 weeks we haven't seen him, but he's back. He's back, and he ends up taking care of Darby Allin, even putting him in the body bag after struggling to get Wheeler Yuta out, because obviously Claudio don't know anything about no damn body bags. Now they get Darby in there, swing his ass around, and then end up, he gave him a neutralizer, whatever the fuck he did to Darby, to, even things up a little bit. Unfortunately though, William Ospreay has returned and to help out Darby and everything like that. Honestly, I'm just fucking over it at this point. Y'all know I don't really care for baby faces, so it is what it is. We end up getting a match announced for a lights out cage match with William and Darby, and he's going to be having his friends teaming up with them to go against Death Riders, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We get a video package of Big Stoke going against Adam Copeland that we're going to get a little bit later on, and honestly, I'm just like, so this is really about Adam Copeland and FTR not really having anything to do with Stokely. He's just getting his ass whipped because he's associated with FTR. Now after this, we have trios with the ladies. Alex Windsor teaming up with Will Nightingale and Queen Aminata to go against Tekla, Sky Blue, and Mercedes Moné. Very interesting. When the what they call again? Oh, I'm about to say sisters or something, but honestly, that's not their name. What is it? Triangle of Badness. Did their little triangle thing in the ring. Then Mercedes make it a square by putting her hands into the little prayer circle that they have going on. But she was obviously uninvited, so she got away from that quickly. This was a pretty decent match here with the girls. It was great to actually see Mercedes interacting with, sort of interacting with other girls, which is great. I really do feel like we need the TBS title back on there. Like, I understand that Mercedes has these other titles, but like, we're missing something, and that's a TBS title for the girls. Like, we need to do something about it. I don't see the title changing hands at Forbidden Door, but it's definitely feeling missed within the women's division. We had Toni Storm, who is in the crowd watching, and Athena, who's on like the very opposite of where she's at, watching the show as well. And they end up getting into a brawl after the match. Baby faces end up taking the win. I'm bored. But Athena and Toni Storm somehow make their way from all the way on the balcony fighting to damn near the ring in like 2.5 seconds. And I was like, what the fuck? How did I get here so quickly? And we get Alex Windsor and Toni Storm teaming up against CEO and Athena, which honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I like to see Athena and CEO together. Like, these two girls could have had what could have been like the next big women's feud if they did it right over a summer, and Tony Khan literally brushed over that thing so quickly, and now all of a sudden they find themselves teaming up with each other, and they're going to be teaming up in a tag match to go against Tony and Alex next week when they go to Scotland. And honestly, not necessarily excited for it, but we'll see how the chemistry is between CEO and Athena. Now we get to see William again backstage, who announces that he made a phone call to President Tanahashi about how he needed some help for Forbidden Door. And instead of me thinking, all right, he probably gonna see who all else over there that's available, since we all busy with the G1. And it turns out he asked President Tanahashi to help and be part of his team with Darby. And I was like, in a what match? In the lights out cage match? President Tanahashi, we love you. The only president that I acknowledge. However, the knees are cooked. They are toast. And he's going to be doing a cage match. Wait till you hear who else is involved in that match. Now after this, we have Adam Copeland going against Big Stoke. It took first of all, Adam Copeland looks so scrumptious tonight. I don't know what it is, but Lord have mercy, he looks so good. Anyway, Big Stoke had to be taken out by Cheesecake and Pound Cake, whatever the other security guard name is. They brought him out, literally carried him out to the ring and even over the ropes to get his ass in there. And it was so interesting because Stokely definitely seemed scared, and who wouldn't feel intimidated to go against literally Adam Copeland? But he starts off going to give him a spear, what seemed to be a spear. Like, I don't even think it would make fucking a paper move if Stokely would have speared a paper. It was so interesting and really, really funny. So after a few of those and that not really working, then Adam starts to kindly beat up on Stokely, and he was taking him through the crowd, and what do you have to say about Stokely? And then somebody in the crowd said, oh, he's old, he's bald, and get no holes. And then he asked the girls, would you want to be with Stokely? Does Stokely got a chance? And they're like, hell no. It was really interesting. Not much of a match or whatever, but to give you a couple of laughs, because we knew what was really going to happen. Now, after Adam Copeland gives Stoke, I think, 2 spears, FTR comes on out there as a distraction, but we knew that the whole restraining order thing wasn't going to work out. When y'all be getting restraining orders on people, y'all still go and see them anyway. So that's basically the same situation that happened where FTR got involved. Adam did kind of sort of beat them up a little bit, gave Stokely another spear. However, Adam Copeland ends up winning with disqualification since everybody and mama got involved. Now, it's not looking good for Uncle Adam with FTR and Stokely barely alive out there after damn near nothing happened to him. But then, music hits and it's our stepdaddy. Our stepdaddy comes on out there with Spike, okay? Spike made an appearance on television. Now, it was interesting because obviously FTR, Stokely, they don't want that smoke. They don't want Spike going through their backs like John Moxley's. So they get the hell out of there. Now, they're both in the ring. Uncle Adam, our stepdaddy, and they bump into each other and they're looking at each other. And Adam Copeland hugs our stepdaddy. I don't know what it was. That made me a little bit emotional because we know them. They've been together forever. And I know they haven't been seeing eye to eye lately, but it was really cool to actually see that moment where he hugged them. There was no go fuck yourself or any of that other foolishness that last time. It was literally a hug. Christian didn't really necessarily hug them back, but he just stood there and took the little hug and ended up walking away after he gave Spike to Adam Copeland. Very interesting. Now, oh yeah, I forgot to mention. It wasn't just FTR that had attacked what's his name? Adam, sorry. Also Nick Wayne and Kip came on out there too. And they end up announcing later on that night that it's going to be Adam Copeland teaming up with our stepdaddy to go against Nick Wayne and Kip. Kip Sabian is on a pay-per-view, not even the pre-show, a pay-per-view. Obviously, they're going to be in the UK, so, that's a nice little moment for him. I felt like that whole thing of them already teaming up with each other was absolutely rushed. Now we have an all-star 8-man tag match, and there is a mystery opponent on the babyface team, and that person will be going against Kaya Fletcher at Forbidden Door. So we start off with Kaya Fletcher, the new TNT champion Kaya Fletcher, teaming up with Josh Alexander, who I feel like we barely see at all. And also these guys, the young fucks who come on out, they barely get any music. They get a little bit of pyro and everything. And they come on out there, and basically the crowd is calling them jobbers. After they come on out there, then we have the babyface team, Brody Kang, Ishii, Hologram. Y'all know Hologram. If Hologram's on the team, they winning. And the mystery person is, drumroll, Hiromu Takahashi. And this was my first pick. I remember saying this last week. I said, based off of what's going on in the G1, none of those people was going to make it for Dynamite this week, because Uncle Don specifically said for New Japan to send their person to go against Kyle Fletcher to Cincinnati, and no one else was going to be able. Well, there's a couple of other people that could have came over, but those were people who would not be in a G1. So many people kept guessing people who were literally wrestling earlier that morning in Japan to be the ones to be in Cincinnati. And I was like, you guys are not watching New Japan, and I can tell because y'all shouting out people's names who are literally in a tournament right now. Whatever. Hiromu comes on out there and teams up with the babyface, and they asses end up taking a win. However, I thought it was really, really great. As much as I can't stand the young fucks, they're really, really entertaining, and I think they worked well with Josh and Kaya Fletcher. They did end up giving a double super kick to our boy Justin Roberts, but it is what it is. If you don't like him, it is whatever. They did get fined. I think they said $10,000 each for attacking Justin Roberts, who was replaced by Tony Schiavone for the rest of the night with the commentary. Babyface team end up taking the win as usual, and we're going to see Kaya Fletcher versus Hiromu Takahashi for the TNT title at Forbidden Door, and this I know is going to be a really great match. Now after this, we hear from Swerve, and it didn't really seem like he was going to say anything different than what he said last week, but then Okada comes on out there, calls him a bitch and makes him mad, and he attacks him. Where is Okada getting these damn suits from? His suit looked like it looks like wallpaper, literal wallpaper, design and everything, and somebody made it in the shape of a suit with no shape, no nothing. It just looks fucking horrible. I don't know who is fucking making these things. I have yet to see Okada in a decent suit since he's been in AEW. I don't know what that's about. That $14.5 million they said he got definitely is not hitting the suit budget. Now, to be honest, I don't know what's going on because they mentioned Swerve knee being hurt and Swerve saying that he was going to be able to pull through anyway, so it didn't really matter. And I didn't realize that there was an injury, or maybe they're playing off of there being an injury. But that's going to be interesting because I don't see Swerve winning that match with Okada at Forbidden Door. I know it's going to be a really great matchup, but I don't want this to feel like, oh, because they mentioned the whole injury thing with his knee, that this is going to be like a huge obstacle for him throughout this match, because I really want to see a really great matchup with these two guys for the first time. So now we have the Death Riders. They're walking back there. And then that's when, I think it was, no, not Renee. I think Alicia, one of them. No, it was Alicia. I remember her. She's the one who stole MJF from me anyway. She asked, what's his name? John Moxley said, oh, did you hear that William got Darby? And he just also called President Tanahashi to be his partner. Now he's going to look for other partners to be part of his group. I ain't seen John Moxley smile in a while. This dude literally smiled and chuckled like Hiroshi Tanahashi, who? The way he said it was so funny because it's like, am I supposed to feel scared about this? Like, what is that going to do? And like I said, President Tanahashi be praying because, you know, them knees ain't what they used to be. Now, they end up walking to a extras locker room for like the local talent, and you see some meaty independent wrestlers back there. I'm like, well, who are they and what are their names? But then you see some other people sitting in the room. It is literally the Young Bucks sitting there with the local talent in the extras room. And it looks like John Moxley and the Death Riders are there to have a little chat. So now, when we come back from commercial break, they have made it official. They announced the whole thing with our stepdaddy, Uncle Adam, going against Nick and Kip. And then they announced the full lineup for the cage match, which we have John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and they will be teaming up with the Young Bucks and Gabe Kidd, our boy. The prayers have gone through. Gabe is clear to be able to make it at Forbidden Door. I'm not necessarily happy that his first match back from his injury is going to be a match like this in the cage. But we'll see where it goes. They will be going against President Tanahashi, William Ospreay, Darby Allin, and then you guessed it, the Golden Lovers, Kota Ibushi, and those cooked up ankles, and our boy Kenneth Omega. And I can't wait to see what happens with that. It's going to be a lot of foolishness, but we're ready for it. We're ready for it. All right, before we get a main event, we do get a little commercial-ish type of thing of like a building in these dark skies and a spotlight of the hook symbol, kind of like, you know, Batman. And honestly, I don't care. I don't think anybody cares. Whatever. Main event, and what didn't really feel like a main event at all to me. We had like less than 10 minutes, and then, you know, Tony Khan cleared, you know, check cleared, and we had a little bit of overtime. And we had LFI going against the Ops. The match was decent, but it's just like, where have fucking Ops been at this whole entire time? Like, we got Shibata here and there, Powerhouse Hobbs here and there, but obviously Samoa Joe has been busy with filming and all this press stuff for the show that he's part of, so it kind of felt a little random that this just happened to be the main event. It was interesting. Well, you know what? Let me not lie. I didn't really care, but it was nice to see meaty, beautiful men in the ring. Shibata in the ring. Samoa Joe has been missing the action for a while, and his shoulder was taped the fuck up with kinesio tape. Literally, like they dumped the whole box on his arm, so that was interesting. Anyway, LFI ends up taking the L, and I found this to be interesting that they would have this trios match with like the only trios in the company, it seems at this point, and the trios titles not being on the line, and they will definitely not be on the line at Forbidden Door from what it looks like from here. It was okay, and after the match, they celebrated a little bit for their win, and honestly, it just felt like this can't be the way y'all ending the show. This doesn't feel like the main event. This feels like something else should be after this. So then, it cuts for a quick second, and Hangman Adam Page is walking through the parking lot. He got a little suitcase and his little water bottle that had a lot of stickers on it. My daughter does shit like that, but whatever. He's walking over there, and he gets attacked by our scumbag MJF, who ends up smashing his head onto whoever car that was in the parking lot. And he said, you think, basically saying something to the effect of, oh, how he's just getting started. And I was like, oh, okay. I can't wait to see where this goes. I am still not happy about the contract being on the table for that match. However, I wish more things could have cooked up here, because I still don't see MJF taking the win at Forbidden Door against Hangman. Overall, the show was pretty decent. There were some things, that I didn't care for, but some interesting developments in terms of actually seeing some New Japan presence at the Forbidden Door. And I'm really hoping that next year for Forbidden Door that we can really get shit together, and it can really feel like the door has been open next year when it comes to the pay-per-view. You guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I will come back tomorrow for Ring of Honor and continue coverage on the G1 Climax. We are 16 nights deep, and we still got just a few more nights to go. So I'll see you guys then.